Hello guys, and welcome to a new WARNO video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I have for you a 4 versus 4 on Twin Cities, and I'm going to be playing with the 35th Guards Air Assault. In this one, I wanted to have a chance to show off the most expensive helicopter in the game, the Ka-50 Akula, the AT variant, with the 12 Vikia missiles, with 26 penetration, 70% accuracy, incredibly strong HGM. It also comes equipped with 40 80mm rockets and a 30mm cannon, so this gunship has a hell of a lot of firepower. But I also wanted to have another chance to show off this map, which I've shown off a couple times already, but one more can't hurt, as we are going to see the Desant Igla there engage the Akula, or sorry, the Kiowa, and take that out of the sky. My Spetsnaz OP going to be deploying very, very deep and try and take out as many transports as they can early on. The Spetsnaz further back with those napalm launchers going to be engaging the airborne fire teams that have come up against us. And then I've got a bunch of Iglas further back. We've also got the Conkers there. So my plan in this game was to have a screen of Iglas that would potentially stop any aircraft that might try and go for the Akula early on, but bringing in an Akula at the beginning of the game, very, very risky move. Any expensive helicopter I would not recommend bringing in at the start, mainly because your AA is usually not set up quick enough to deal with enemy fighters that might try and shoot them down. And yeah, this is a very tasty target. It did get hit by a Stinger round, so I ended up having to pull that back from the beginning, so we're not going to be seeing it in action just yet. It did fire off like one rocket and an HGM, but didn't really do too much. I'm just focusing very much on my infantry micro as the Spetsnaz move forwards and demolish the airborne fire teams. We're up against the 82nd Airborne here in the city, and we haven't really bumped into any larger squad. These smaller squads easily taken care of by the AKSU 74s. Humvee there, going to be made short work of by the Akula as it uses one of its HGMs to take it out, and now the rockets are going to be getting on target. So since I managed to kill the Stinger squad that was in the Horrorize, the Spetsnaz now are inside. I decided to move forwards the Akula, get the rockets on target, and use them to help speed up the process here up against the airborne units. There's another Stinger on the right hand side, but we've already managed to get the better of that with the Spetsnaz squad, so that's great. My Spetsnaz OP further up, I had planned to try and ambush the reinforcing road with that Spetsnaz OP, but the AH-1F does come in and stop me in my tracks. But now I'm just going to get all of my Desant Igla further forwards as quickly as possible, get into these high rises and try and shoot it down. So you can see already 2 shots flying past. But the third is going to hit the first hit as well. So nice kill there. Takes out another of my opponent's helicopters. Now it's an interesting matchup this, the 35th versus the 82nd. Both decks definitely rely very much on their infantry and helicopters. So we're going to see me utilize the helicopters quite a lot today. The Akulas. I'm also going to be bringing in a Mi-24K. This is a recon helicopter that has a 23mm twin cannon on each wing, as you can see, and also those rocket pods, the 40 80mm rockets, and then it also has its Yak-B on the front. That's moving over to the right side, because you can see here that my Desant were killed by a Bradley. So I'm going to be sending over my Mi-24K to deal with that. I've also brought up a T-64B that's going to be trying to reinforce that right bridge, and also the Desant there to join as well, just to replace the ones that I had originally. Enemy F-16s on the horizon, so it's time for the MiG-29 to make a showing, and the MiG-29, absolutely gorgeous camo on this division, and we're going to see it fly over the city here. How gorgeous is that? Managed to shoot down the F-16, unfortunately get hit myself by another F-16, but that one got taken out by my Iglas, and my MiG-29 is able to dodge the rest. Phantom 2 now coming in, so I'm bringing up a second MiG to engage that. First missile hits the mark, second missile does the job. We get a quick glimpse of the second city. Now, this replay was pretty awesome. We get to see all of the parts of the map today, as later on I will be fighting further to the left side. Very, very risky for me to leave that in on the field for so long, but I do manage to get away with getting it out. The Spetsnaz now moving forwards. The 20mm Vulcan firing away onto that position. I am going to be trying to avoid that fire as much as possible, so I actually target the airborne fire team on the right, so that the Spetsnaz squad, sorry, moves to the right side of that building and therefore can no longer be targeted. I've now also got some BMDs on the scene, my mechanized forces coming into play. They have their 30mm cannon, fantastic fire support for the BMD infantry. The little chain link icon there, that is the IFB infantry trait, which means that those infantry take less suppression in combat when fighting near an infantry fighting vehicle. Not going to be needed really in this case, as the BMD is the main thing that is engaging at a distance. We can see that my opponent has captured the sector with a command helicopter, so only a matter of time until we're able to push that out of the sector or destroy it. Mi-24K finished its job on the right hand side, so my Desant Rojitka getting into position with the T-64B, and you can see the burning wreck here of the Bradley. It's somewhere in there. There it is, taken out by the Mi-24K. Mi-24, as it moves further to the left, attacked by an F-16. This is exactly the thing that I'm trying to avoid with my Akula, which is why it was landed there, and I'm getting it fixed up by the UAZ in the meantime. But we've managed to win the town pretty convincingly early on, and I'm getting my Desant Conkers and my Iglas and all that good stuff into decent positions to hold from here on out. But on the left hand side, this sector fully under control of our opponents, mainly due to Ultalia kind of able to get the better of Air Flask. Air Flask on our team was an AI at this point because he left at the start of the game. On their team, Avari Frost also left at the start of the game, so technically a 3v3 when it comes to players, 4v4 if you include the AI. And yeah, Nomad's going to have to deal with that AI on the left hand side. So Sheridan's now coming in. This Desant Conquer in a very, very nice position though. This Stinger somehow managing to sneak and stay behind my lines, which is obviously not a place that I really want to be in, or want that to be in, if I want to use my Ka-50 Akula. My Akula here going to be taking some more damage, so forced to land once again with 1 health, and I'm going to have to get some supply over to that to fix it, or maybe try and get it back to the supply helicopter that I have back here. And when I'm zoomed out, this is going to look really big, but when I'm zoomed in, it is more of a normal size, parked in the car park here, providing lots of supply to my UAZs. Now these UAZs, they only carry 500 supply, but I'm able to use them to, or use the helicopter to fill up and then send them back into the town to top off like the Iglas, the Spetsnaz, maybe even the Conkers here. You can see I've got the UAZ behind that, topping off the HGMs. That's the kind of thing that I was doing, just ferrying supply backwards and forwards with the smaller trucks while keeping the big supply at the back, because you can now do that, which is very, very awesome. Spetsnaz on the left trying to get the better of the airborne fire team here. Got the Jaeger Aufkrallers being engaged by the T-80U that the AI has brought over to my side. Yeah, the Desant Conquer is still doing a good job of keeping these Sheridans at bay. I've got some more Desant Conquers on the way. I want to make this city an absolute fortress so that I can kind of focus elsewhere on the map. Maybe help the AI push into the sector further left. That was my thought, at least. So UAZ coming over to fix up the Akula. I want to get that off the ground, especially considering there's multiple infantry squads over here with HGMs. Leaving an Akula on the ground will make it easy pickings for those infantry squads. So getting it fixed up ASAP. I've got the Mi-24K here ready to help out as well. Brought up an Afghansky to assist the Iglas in shooting down any aircraft that come overhead. I've also got a BRDM Strela in here as well. So yeah, just making this a nice front line, and we'll soon clean up the rest of the infantry on the left side here, just kind of taking a little bit of time to get things into position. Afghansky going to be engaging those poor AB fire teams. Odessa Niki BMD actually not doing too great in that engagement because they were already low in cohesion due to their engagement with the infantry on the buildings. But here goes the Mi-24K with the recon. That's going to reveal the location of the enemy Stinger, and then I'm going to bring the Ka-50 Akula up afterwards and be able to engage that immediately. Or at least that was the plan. Because that is the Stinger squad that hit me previously, so able here to take out 2 squads. Going to be hitting the 3rd. Ka-50 Akula claiming many kills. Already taken out multiple in the city here, but able to keep moving it up and get a bunch more on the left side, securing my left flank in the city for the time being. F-16s coming in. Not really the best choice of aircraft for Dragomanov, unfortunately, because there aren't really many units that I have. I don't think there are any, really, that can use radar for their AA. Like, I don't even think the Afghansky is technically classed as radar AA. So the F-16's kind of making an unnecessary pass there. MiG-29 coming in again though. Get to see that in the sky. Do love the MiG-29. So even more forces on the way. I've got some Nunners. Now these are mortars, 120mm mortars. And I was hoping to use them to potentially dislodge any units that were ahead of the city in order to keep pushing. But the trouble with the 35th Guards Air Assault is it doesn't really have like open range capability in that sense. So I opted not to push out of the town in the end, and you'll see that these Nonners kind of just hang around in my backline, not really doing too much for the rest of the game. F-16 though does get a missile into my Akula, but gets shot down. The Sound Conkers in position here. You can see I've spread out all of the buildings on the edge of the city, as well as the Conkers up there in the high rise. One of my MiG-29s did get shot down, ends up crashing into the Jaegers on the left side here. Mi-24K though, meanwhile, getting fixed up at my supply helicopter. And here comes the artillery. So this is what he needs. He needs to get his artillery on target, try and take out the units that I have held up here. And he has started to do a little bit of damage. It really needs to focus that artillery all on the same target, really, in order to do damage, because artillery still a little bit weak on the current patch. TATU sounds so much better now with their machine guns. Engaging the Jaeger Aufkleider there. And now what I'm going to do is bring in stuff on the left hand side, because yeah, I figured can't just sit here all day trying to defend this right hand side. Might as well help on the left, where I can actually make a little bit of a difference. So bringing in another Ka-50 Akula. And this will enable me to take care of things like these Leopard 2A3s, potentially be able to outrange some of this AA, but not really, because these have 2,825 meters, which is just 25 meters longer than the HGM, so there's no way in which I can be out of range of the AA in order to engage it. But I do have a bunch of Skrezets coming up with the Iglas to cover my Akula from air attacks, and I've also got the T-64 BVs on their way, which are the best tanks that I have to offer in this division. So 225 points, 18 damage on its main gun, pretty good. They also get a fantastic A-to-Gem, 21 penetration, 55% accuracy at 2,625 meters range. I'm going to be trying to make use of them in order to push across the open. Now I could potentially try and push deep with the T-64s on this side, but in the end basically decided not to, because it's difficult to continuously support the overextension towards a sector like this when I could just be getting closer to Charlie and helping out here. Also, the AI is currently trying to push in here, which will screen a lot of my forces for me naturally. So it's a better idea to support the AI in taking back the sector than pushing deep into the enemy lines and potentially getting picked off when I have units unsupported. But all of the Iglas unloaded, Skrezet's going to be spreading them out, T-64 BVs moving forwards, Akula moving up. There's pretty much going to be a dance with my Akula here, keeping it far enough forwards that I can get ATGMs onto enemy armor, but not too close that I get shot down by enemy AA. So, going to be moving over my Nonnas, as you can see. They're going to be swinging over to the left-hand side to kind of support this push, because not really much use for them on the right. Artillery has cleaned up the conkers, by the way, on the edge of the town, but not too concerned about that. We have very deep defenses there on the right side, and I've also got the Mi-24 still hanging about, and the Ka-50 Akula. Actually, I think the Mi-24 at this point, no, there it is. I was wondering if it had been shot down, but it hadn't yet. T-64s though now shifting forwards alongside the units of the AI. Got an Afghansky that's joined me, and I'm also going to be bringing up more T-64 BVs and another Mi-24K. The units just look so cool in this game, they really do. And I think on this map as well, particularly like the Akula, the lighting just makes them look so great. T-64 helping engage into the town. With Yag's units here trying to hold the ground. ETR 60s engaging the infantry in those buildings. Fortunately, this one not hit by a AT rocket just yet. That Carl Gustav not quite doing the job. But here we go, Skrezets going to be moving forwards, T-64 BVs. The Skrezets, they're going to be good for taking on enemy infantry somewhat, and also soaking ATGMs or revealing the position of enemy tanks. In this case, the T-80 of the AI reveals the location of one of the two A3s. I've also got the Mi-24 over here providing some sort of recon. So Iglas going to be making sure to push up behind. Meanwhile, on the right side, things are pretty stable, and there's not really too much going on. If you're wondering what's going on here, I've got a Strela just kind of floating around in the lake. It was pretty much just doing that because it was baiting artillery shells. They kept trying to arty it, so I just put it on a big loop and hope that they would just keep artying that rather than trying to whittle down the defences in the city. Anyway, my T-64s, the extra T-64s are now arriving, and we're really hitting that point of sort of critical mass, which is going to allow me to push through as like one big wave. So just got to get stuff into position. Like the AI obviously moving up with all of this chaff in between my units is great, because it allows the T-64s to engage the more expensive units like the Leopard 2A3s and get rid of the AA and stuff, while the AI kind of soaks damage for me. So my T-64 BV now engaging the Leopard 2A3. A 2A3 at range will win that engagement over time. The benefit that we have is that the T-64 BV won't lose rate of fire due to its autoloader, whereas the 2A3 will. So when the cohesion of the 2A3 gets low, it's going to be a lot less effective than the T-64 BV. And you can see the T-64 BV there. I eventually smoke it off. Survives on 1 health. And the other T-64 BV going to be putting a lot of damage onto that 2A3, forcing it to smoke and fall back itself. But I'm just going to be continuously pushing forwards here. Not too concerned about any infantry or anything. One of those HGMs just waiting for them to hit. Only takes 1 to kill that. I am going to want to make sure that Milan's dead though. And it does get taken out. HGM flying over the top of this T-64, actually hitting the one behind. Now tornadoes coming in with those bombing strikes. Going to be able to take out some of the infantry here. Bombing strike going straight for the Afghansky. Thankfully didn't take it out, but my T-64 BVs are having a bit of a hard time continuing the push. But I've now got a T-64 BVK moving in to counter-cap the sector. And if they don't have a command in the sector anymore, then we're going to capture the whole thing for ourselves, which is going to give us a nice +2. Since we just lost this right-hand side. Well, it's actually going to even out again as Jagdsource gets pushed out of this sector. I've done a good job helping the AI get through here so far. Just need to make sure that we deal with Alta's units. K50 moving up to potentially help support from a distance, but I can't get too close because of the Roland 3 there on the left-hand side. So I thought it was interesting to show this replay, mainly because I don't fight over this area very often. This is like the highway going through here. And we get to see a nice tank advance with the T-64s. We go up against the German armour. The Leopard 1A5, the Leopard 2A3s. And a nice helicopter support as well. This is a little bit risky for me. My AA really not very good, so using heavy tanks is a bit risky because AT aircraft and cluster aircraft can really sort of break down this push quite easily. Here's an example of my opponent using an F4F to try and hit my Akula. What I'm going to do is just get that landed behind the trees here. I've got some supply vehicles coming over to fix that up. Meanwhile, Mi-24K moving further forward. Since I saw the Roland fall back on the left side here, we were able to move forwards those helicopters a little bit. I've also opted to bring over an Mi-24V here to help support Jagd up against Jin Parker. He's also brought up a couple of his own Mi-24s. And the Nonners, oh, they're going to be shifting over as they did get counter-batteried a little bit. I was generally fire positioning these into the town. I also brought up an Mi-8T, Mi-8MT technically, to engage any infantry that was getting further up in the city here. And now our opponent has brought in a command for this sector. So I am going to have to be a little bit more aggressive if I want to stop us from bleeding the +1 against our enemies, because currently things are pretty close across the board. You know, I'm still holding nicely on this right hand side, which is good. But elsewhere, things relatively even. We've got the 50-50 on this one. On the left hand side, the AI is being assisted by Alta on the enemy team. So Nomad's trying to do his best to hold them back. Now IT-64 trying to get an HGM onto the Chieftain. Managing to smash that in the side armor. Great HGM that the T-64s have. The KA-50 Akula here, very far up. Just noticed how far up it was. No AA support really, so I don't want to keep it there. Otherwise, when our opponent tries to bring in an aircraft once again, it's going to be extremely vulnerable. So yeah, moving back into the line of sight of these Afghanskis and the Eaglers, and I'm going to need to bring up some more AA if I want to really push forwards. But some T-64Bs on the way. They are going to be heading over here to push across the open with Yags. I've got plenty of recon to assist those, the Desarmazvidka, as well as a couple of the Conquers squads, which if I attack, move them across the open, will be able to engage at max distance. At the backside, I've got a bunch of MiGs floating about because I did bring them in previously to deal with something else, but then just decided to keep them flying at the back. T-64 takes out the Gepard, that was nice. Over here, Gepard is however going to get on to the Mi-24K, and the Roland's going to land a missile there as well. My KA-50 is going to have to nope out of there. And not able to get many effective strikes in with the KA-50 Akula so far. T-64s finding that Iltis and well, that takes the sector back in our control. And on the left side, Nomad's managed to get complete control here. So we're going to be pushing our lead now to a +4, and we were already ahead in tickets, so that's only going to continue. The T-64s unsupported, just pushing forwards at the moment. The main reason I'm doing this is because I'm relatively confident that there isn't much infantry or units here that are going to be able to threaten the T-64s. Otherwise, I would make sure that I had infantry in front of them or some sort of recon. But in this case, I'm basically just hunting down the AA that was left over on the left-hand side. So the Roland 3 that we know is in here, which I'm attack moving towards, and then I want to try and get rid of that Gepard. And now there is a Milan 2, but at this range, the Milan 2s can't really do too much, especially under machine gun and main gun fire, but also they have a minimum range, so that's gonna obviously stop them being effective as well. Roland 3 tries to do a runner, taken out, and that's going to enable more of these helicopter plays. So I've brought over my supply helicopter to behind the hill here, so that I can set up a position where I can reinforce or fix up basically my helicopters when I try and go for this engagement. So my T-64 is now going to be rushing across the open. We've got the Desarmazvidkas moving forwards, trying to get them into some heavy cover so that we can scout out what's in the other side of these fields. And then the Conquers are also going to hopefully be able to get up into that position. But meanwhile over here, Gepard 1A1 goes down. But I'm going to be bumping into a rifle squad. Now this is the AI, but rifles are still pretty deadly. They have a lore 80 and take down one of my T-64s to 4 health. This T-64 BV gets hit by a chieftain, so I'm going to be having to fall them back. Meanwhile, over here T-64 BV gets taken out by the AT-4. We've got my Akula moving forwards, able to take out the unit that was capturing this sector. Unfortunately for me, the Avenger Para going to be able to shoot that down. The Tunguska of Yagd now trying to get rid of the scout helicopter on the left hand side. And so far so good. We are continuing the push here. The UAZ KPVs are moving forwards, providing me with recon information The Desant Helvetica further back also doing the same. Just a nice open field push coming up here against the M1A1 that is defending. We do have F111 cluster fire coming in. The T-80UDs of Jagd are going to be spreading as quickly as they can. The Tunguska did go down, but the T-80UDs are going to be fine, and I only lost one of my T-64s, so I was happy with that. The T-64 got a nice hit onto the M1A1, and we're able to take it out. LRS squad comes forward, trying to use its M72 lore to kill the T-64, but I don't have to worry too much because those really aren't that good. And Challenger 2 of the AI getting smashed by rockets. I was trying to get my T-64 BB here to move up the road and take that out at close range as well, but wasn't necessary in the end. And you can see that I've meanwhile reinforced with a bunch of these Desant Iglas to try and take down enemy aircraft in the sky. Nonnas still being used to help kill infantry in the town. You can see these blocks being absolutely ruined by artillery fire in the center there. One of my T-64s killed or lowered in health significantly. Last one currently falling back, but Os is there, able to take down an F-16 at least. Now on the right, still managing to hold my ground. The Desant Conquers going to be able to get a shot towards the Humvee there. Takes that out. And now we're counting that +6, so in a really good spot. T-64 BB is just going to be setting them up to defend the left flank of this sector, and I'm going to be getting my supply vehicles to spread out and resupply the Iglas. Mi-24V shifting forwards. Be careful, there is obviously AA there on that left hand side, and it is slowly but surely doing damage to these helicopters. Another aircraft going down though. That was a ping, potentially some enemy units there, so yeah, bringing in a recon to have a look at that. My Spetsnaz now moving up on the left side. Spetsnaz group, nice recon squads these are. They use the ASVAL and the VSS. Decent DPS at close ranges. And they also have the RPG-27, which does have 21 penetration, so got to watch out for that. Yeah, currently just bunkering down this sector, like we did on the right. And Nomad's done a really good job of breaking through the left side now, cleaning up a lot of the AI. And pretty much comes down to whether or not our opponent can push back into this sector. With my Spetsnaz kind of pushing up on the right flank here of the sector, it is going to stop them from moving in from this direction. Yag set up a double Conkers there, so that's going to be really difficult for the Sheridans to push into. Helicopters are going to get taken out by the Osas. And well, big air engagement. Phantom 2s versus MiGs. Saw a bunch of them come in. And I'm going to be trying to get out of there. Unfortunately, Eagle, it's a good AMRAAM on target. And just look at the flames flying everywhere as multiple planes on both sides get taken out. Enemy Eagle goes down, we lose a MiG-31. Shot down the Phantom on the left here. So, great stuff. Anyway, another chieftain going to be taken out by the T-64s. Big engagement coming here. Dragomanov making a play with his M1IPs. But the Conkers on the flank, really scary for those tanks. Not if they don't hit though. I'll tell you what is really scary. Multiple T-62s and T-80UDs. Cluster strike coming in onto these. And that's going to be the end of the game. Just like that. 7,026 kills, 3,855 losses in the end. What a game. Very, very fun. And allowed me to bring out the Akula, which was cool. It's not often that I use that helicopter just because it is so expensive. And generally things like Mi-24Vs or potentially like Mi-8s, those are the sort of things that are generally more cost effective. Yag getting a fantastic amount of kills, 10,121. Nomad got 9,581, but he was mainly up against AI, so explains a lot of those kills. But I think in this game, like I managed to push through on the right side. I solidified the city. I helped further to the left, so pushed through with the AI to get that sector sorted, and then I helped Yag take back his sector, and then he just kind of farmed points from there on. Yeah, like overall, a nice game, and I felt like I was very useful, which is something that I feel the 35th can sometimes struggle to be, because it is so sort of specialized generally towards closer range engagements. But you can see the Akula got loads of kills against infantry more than anything. A couple of Humvees in there, but otherwise fire teams, the airborne scouts, the Iglas actually doing a great job in this game, shooting down multiple helicopters and also some aircraft in some cases. The MiG-29s looking awesome as ever, flying over the city, shooting down the F-16s and the F-4Fs. The T-64BV killing multiple stuff as we pushed into that sector, taking out the German tanks and the AA, as well as some of the AI's British units. Yeah, the T-64BVs, nice tank. K-50 Akula, great helicopter, and we got to see both of them in action today. So really showing off the best that the 35th Guards Air Assault has to offer. That's it. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.